Good morning, Culers. It is time to wake up and Barca. Live Barcelona news coming at you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on the Undefeated channel. We've got a very special episode. Our guest, Pablo Woolls-Blanco, is coming back to the channel. We're going to be talking about the new Barcelona kits. We're going to be talking about Frenkie De Jong rumors, Lewandowski rumors, a potential raid on some available players at Chelsea. We'll talk about all that and more. Let's see if I remember how to do this, all right? It's been a few days. I've taken a little bit of a break. What's it been, 7 days, 10 days, something like that? So I missed you all. It's going to be good to catch up. Glad you're here. Glad you're with us. If you're just finding us for the very first time, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you can be part of the conversation while we go over today's headlines coming out of the camp now, have a little bit of caffeine, get our day going in a positive way. Like I said, Pablo is with us for today's episode. Before we get into anything, including taking a look at those new kits, let's kick things off the right way, my friends.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are now tuning in to the Undefeated Mustache John.
All right, intro is turned off. We're coming back from the break strong. 0 errors for this one, all right? We've got some great news. Like I said, Barcelona have released their new kit, and we've got a very special guest to talk about that and more. We've got Pablo Woolls-Blanco. I'm going to bring him on in just 1 second. I want to first turn and say my hellos to the chat because I know we haven't caught up in a little bit. So good morning to the Stash Squad. Let's see who we got here hanging out with us. Kudish, the Stash... Excuse me. I'll get my words. Hang on. A little bit of coffee first. Let's slow down. I'm just excited to see everybody. I'm happy to be back. That's better. Okay. Kudis, my stash commander. Good morning to you, sir. We got Chris. We got Winston. Sem, good morning to you all. Felipe, hello, sir. Callum is with us. Chanel is with us. Who else we got? Daniel, how you doing? All right, we got a good quorum here. Ovi's with us. Ryan Scott, Barca fan. I'm going to get your picture updated here over the weekend. By the way, anybody else, if you want to be part of the slideshow for the pre-match, the pre-stream, or halftime, send me your pictures on Instagram or Twitter right down below at the Undefeated Mustache John, at the Undefeated MJ. Put on your Barca kit, make a sign, whatever you want to do to show your support for the club. Send it over to me. I'll add you in. Kimmy's with us. Gustav is with us. We got quite a group. FV, how we doing? All right. We've got a good collection of Stash Squad here, which means we don't have to wait any longer. We're going to jump right in as soon as I get my buttons lined up here. All right. Changing things over. Turning on the audio. And Pablo, you should be live, sir. Welcome back.
Hello, everyone. Hello, John. Am I all good? Yeah, we all good. It's good to be back, honestly, guys. Honestly, thank you, John, for having me back on. Interesting time for Barca. I know we always say that, but it really is right now. And yeah, I'm looking forward to talking about a lot, man, because there is a lot to talk about.
Hang on. I may have paused you for 1 second here. Let me bring this back up. There we go. Okay, sorry. I lowered that window. We're back. I froze your face for just 1 second, but the audio is good. Okay. I said there weren't going to be any mistakes today. That was optimistic. Cross that off the board. Ayush, Kudus, reset my counter. Anyway, Pablo, I'm glad you're here. We're going to talk about kits. We're going to talk about transfer rumors. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. You can tell I'm excited. I've taken like 10 days off, so I've just got a lot on my mind. I'm happy to be here.
Yes.
Slow things down. Pablo, how was your trip to Barcelona, man? Let's start with that.
Yeah, really good. Honestly, really, really good. I went for the Celta Vigo game, which was about mid-May. Looked like I picked a good one, actually, because Barcelona have been struggling at Camp Nou. You know, we lost to Villarreal at the end of the season. And it was really good, you know. First of all, it was lovely for the holiday, the break, to be around the city in Barcelona. Second of all, you know, match day was amazing. It really was. It is a shame these days when you go that there's only like 50,000 people in. That is a shame. Like, you can't get away with that. You look at like the animation zone as well behind the goal. You know, there just aren't as many people. That is a fact. But I will say that the atmosphere is still good. Like, it's not like it's just going to be quiet in there. It was really good. It was a great evening. Barca got a good win, despite not actually playing that well, in my opinion. We did get some goals out of nowhere, which I was thinking, you know, thank heavens, because it wasn't looking good at various stages in the game. But honestly, it was a super cool experience. The trip was really good. It was good weather, and it's lovely to go always. It is always a big pleasure to go to Camp Nou, honestly. I really enjoyed it.
I saw some of your pictures on Instagram, of course. You looked like you were just having a great time. Big smiles. The weather was wonderful. I was pretty jealous. I'm hoping, if not this upcoming year, maybe the year after, we're going to get there together. We'll have a good time. We'll live stream it. You know, Stash Squad will get to be a part of it. We'll get to the Camp Nou together. I'm sure it'll happen.
Definitely.
All right. So what else? I've got a small list of things to talk about here. You want to start off with your reaction to the new kits that we just had our home kit released this morning? You want to give your thoughts on that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I'm a really big fan of it. I'm a huge fan of it, actually. I think it's one of our nicest kits in recent years, if not the nicest kit. I think it's world class, actually. That's all I've got to say. I think it's a brilliant kit. I really do. I'm really looking forward to getting it. I'm looking forward to seeing the players in it. And I think we're going to get some very, very cool photos out of it. I think people are going to get some cool shirts with different names on the back. I think it's a great kit. I really do. And I think the away and the third kits are also looking promising. But I honestly feel as if that home kit could be the best out of the lot.
I agree with you on that. First impression was, you know, the hearts over the eyes emoji. I'm in love with it. I'm glad that they did not do the green text for Spotify. I know that was, you know, not a likely possibility, but I was still just nervous that Spotify was going to be like, we're paying all this money. We want it to stand out, yada, yada, yada. So right off the bat, I'm glad they got the colors right for the Spotify. It is a throwback to those early 90 kits. I know the release today was saying that it was a comparison to the 92 Olympic years. I'm still seeing more of the 2004 when we first signed Ronaldinho. But either way, I like the style. It feels true to Barcelona's DNA. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like when do we have that checkered kit, like 2017 or 18, whatever that was. It's back to our roots. It feels like Barcelona.
Yeah, it does. No, you're absolutely right. Well, that one and that checkered kit, I still look back on it and think, what was going on? So yeah.
Yeah, I passed on that one. Don't have that one in my closet, actually. I'm not ashamed to say. But you mentioned there's going to be a lot of people that are going to want to order the jerseys, get a name on the back, myself included.
Yeah.
So let's just dive into transfers, because I'm going to be waiting, because I'm not super confident in almost. There's a few people, obviously, right? Pedri's not going anywhere. Ansu's not going anywhere. There's maybe one or two others that we feel like are untouchable. But beyond that, I'm nervous. I'm very nervous. Shall we start with Frenkie De Jong?
Yeah, let's do it,
Give me your thoughts, Pablo.
Well, I mean, pessimistic Pablo has got to say that and maybe realistic Pablo, I just got to say that I think come the start of the season, Frenkie De Jong won't be a Barcelona player. That's honestly the way I feel. And I think when we talk this whole episode, again, I'm in a very frustrated state again as a Barcelona fan, because I honestly feel as if our transfer windows and the way we run our club is still completely decided by our financial situation, is all I'm going to say. You know, we are still just in such a dreadful position. And the way I see it is Barcelona are going to sell Frenkie De Jong this summer. Look, they might not. We might get some economic levers, which we might talk about later, that will help put some money into the club in another way. But I honestly feel as if the club are going to sell De Jong. And my worry is that it's De Jong this summer, and then next summer, who is it? And then the summer after, I wonder when Barcelona are finally going to get out of this situation. Gavi's contract hasn't been renewed. God forbid Barca say, hey, there's a free 50 million this summer for someone who's only 17 or whatever. When the club's in this bad of a state, they start thinking like this. They really do. And it is sad because it still feels like we've got Bartomeu at times to me when I see stuff like this, but it's just the way it is. Frenkie De Jong, I think he's been as good as he could have been at Barcelona, by the way? No, I actually don't. I think he could have been a lot better. I have to say that. That's the one thing I will say. But I still think as if Barcelona should be keeping one of their most, best and most promising midfielders in Europe. And in my opinion, I don't think they will come the end of the season. Honestly, who knows right now? But the way things are going, to me, it feels very much like an Arthur-Juventus situation. All roads lead to Barcelona cashing in on De Jong and really helping out the financial situation because, again, it is dreadful.
Yeah. Excuse me. Pessimistic Pablo is pretty accurate on that one. I'm a huge fan of Frenkie. You know this. I've talked about him several times with you. I like his style of play. I like his creativity. But I have to admit that I am more in love with the idea of Frenkie De Jong than what we've actually gotten out of Frenkie De Jong. So I will by no means be one to usher him out. Like, I don't want to see him go. But we're not getting the best out of him. I think we can admit that. Xavi's not going to change his system to fit Frenkie De Jong. If somebody came along, like a Man United, and offered us upwards of 88 million euros, I think you have to take it. It would make me sad. Arthur was a surprise. I really thought that De Jong and Arthur were going to be our Xavi and Iniesta. I thought that was the case, right? A year later, we've got Nico and Gavi, so everyone's kind of focused on them. And Pedri, obviously. That's without being said, of course. So everyone's looking at the Catalonia boys, at the La Masia players. I feel like it's going to happen. I hate to say it, but I feel like there's going to be a long drag out because Frenkie De Jong wants to play Champions League football. He's not going to get that at Man United. Not next year anyway. So I think it's going to be a long, sad summer of Frenkie De Jong transfer rumors. But then I think it's going to actually end up happening. It's either that or is you kind of mentioned it, but is there any chance that Barcelona sell Gavi and they keep Frenkie De Jong? I can't imagine they'll sell both, right?
No, I mean, you'd really hope not. You really would. I mean, for the finances, it would probably be beneficial, but you'd really hope they don't.
Yeah, but I'm getting suspicious about the lack of Gavi news, the lack of progress around his contract, particularly with Laporta saying we sent him an offer and haven't heard, but then Gavi's camp was like, no, we never got an offer. So I'm anxious about this because we were burned last year. I hate to bring it up, but we were burned last year with Messi. So, like, in my mind, I'm like, anything's possible right now. So what are you thinking about Gavi?
No, and to be honest, Barca fans are right to be like worried right now because it's the way the club's going. You can't really trust that things are going to go fine. Gavi, I mean, look, I actually do think Gavi will stay if I had to go one way or the other. Like De Jong, I think he'll go. I think Gavi will stay, but who knows? His contract isn't being dealt with. It's up in 2023. There's not a club in Europe that wouldn't pay either 50 now or 0 next summer. So, I mean, again, for Barcelona, they've got to knuckle down. I hate to bring that up, but Barcelona are about to be renewing Sergio Roberto's contract, and they're not going to be renewing Gavi's. I get that the club are in a bad situation financially, but they've got to help themselves out here. They really do. That sort of operation in our situation, that cannot happen, in my opinion. I know people are more lenient saying Xavi trusts Roberto, fair enough, but Barcelona have to make big decisions. We lost Messi a year ago. Anything goes now. And letting go of someone like Sergio Roberto, even if the coach wants him, that has to happen, in my opinion. Barcelona need to relieve the wage bill. Everyone's contract expires so late. Roberto's is one that finally expires. He doesn't help the team in the last 2 seasons. I think I've got more respect for Roberto than a lot of Barca fans on Twitter who just tear into the guy, but still, in my opinion, it's the right thing for him to go. And Gavi, he's on the verges, man. He's on the verges. They've got to give him a good offer, and they've got to tie him down. They really do.
I'm 100% with you on that. I don't understand how Roberto gets a new contract before Gavi. what makes me nervous in particular is that if Gavi wanted to just hold out and wait all next year, do a Dembele, that's a possibility. You know, everyone's got the contract renewal on their mind because Laporta's been pushing it. He's saying Gavi's next, but he's not next. Roberto's next. Yeah. So who knows what's going to happen? We may start the season with Gavi still under his current contract. You know, I could see we get to next January and somebody buys him for $50 million. I could see that happening, you know? Yeah. So who knows? I want to be optimistic about it, but like you said, the finances just aren't there. I don't know enough about it. I thought that we had, you know, started to right the ship over the course of the last, 9 months, something like that. But apparently we're still nowhere near getting out of the danger zone. So I know the CVC deal was being talked about. Now that's not looking good again. Supposedly we need to get, I was reading something like just under 600 million euros for us to get back into the green or something like that. I'm kind of uninformed on that side because it just frustrates me. So what do you got, Pablo? What do you know about the finances?
I mean, I'm honestly, John, with the finances, I'm like you, man, because I just find it so difficult to understand. And I think, honestly, if we were to be reported like what actually is going on, I think all of our heads would fall off. But I think what I try and do sometimes when I speak about this is trying to speak about it in just kind of normal terms, because I think people try and complicate it, and then it means that the regular fan like you and me can't really understand it, and I'm sure the guys in the chat as well. I suppose the way I see it is Barcelona are in a dreadful situation financially. We need to make up tons and tons of cash, the sort of 500 million figure that you talked about. There are certain economic levers that the club are trying to pull now. The CVC agreement would have been one of them, where the club gets a big influx of cash in exchange for selling the TV rights, but I think it was too many of them and over a too long period of time.
It's like 50 in my opinion, would have, right?
Yeah, 50 years, I think.
Yeah.
I think it's a bad deal, but it's one of those things, it's like the saying, you know, food for today, hunger for tomorrow, that sort of thing. And that's why all the La Liga clubs have accepted it, because everyone's in a similar situation to Barcelona where they need money now. Barcelona haven't accepted it. It means we're in trouble this summer again. I mean, look, Barcelona again are in a woeful situation financially. The wage bill cannot not be spoken about because it is just abysmal. It's the worst in Europe by far. And when you look at our squad, it is sensational. I think I read, double Bayern Munich's wage bill, 160 million more than Real Madrid's wage bill, is what I read, I think, this morning from the economic president, Eduardo Romeo.
I knew it was bad. I didn't know those numbers. That's wild.
It's completely out of control, Barcelona's economic situation. And that's what I mean by speaking about it in general terms. What people need to know is that Barcelona are, you know, struck financially in all senses, in every sense. And that's why you will continue to see big sales of the best players this summer. Barcelona are meant to be developing. Well, you know what? The development could be losing De Jong, Dembele, and Gavi within a 1-2 seasons. That's the way it is. And then we go backwards and backwards. And the summer after, who is it? And the summer after, who is it? That's my worry. Who is next in line on the chopping block? Because we already lost Messi. We already lost Griezmann. Those are two of the biggest salaries in the team, by the way. Coutinho, that's three of the biggest salaries. Dembele, that's 4. And still we're in this situation. The salaries that the former president Bartomeu gave the players are literally unmanageable. I don't know what other way to put it, but Barcelona are in such a dangerous position, and it makes these summers quite bleak. Like, it does. I don't know what Barca are going to do, signings-wise, sales-wise, because I'll tell you what, there's not one player that is happy to leave the club on that salary, in that city. Braithwaite, Pjanic, Umtiti, Longley, you name it. None of them want to go. That's why when players like Sergio Roberto's contracts expire, the club have to snatch that chance and let them go. They cannot renew them. And you look at the captains as well, who have to take responsibility too. Gerard Piqué, for example, has been given an extortionate salary by Bartomeu in this kind of inverted pyramid structure that Barcelona have on a salary, where it starts off quite low and into the 30s it gets higher and higher and higher, which is just utter insanity, you know, in any establishment. So what Barcelona have got financially, I don't know, guys. It is, what you need to know is that it is disgraceful. It really is. And it's so worrying.
Yeah. You said a lot of great things there. It's watching transfer news on Twitter, like following Fabrizio Romano and others. It's like walking in it's like being a kid walking into a candy shop with empty pockets. You got no money. You're just you're looking at, oh, look at all these sweets. I would love to, and I just can't. It's available. Transfers are happening. Big players are moving. The next generation of superstars are all finding their big European clubs, and it's not Barcelona. I love that we still have big name players like a Lewandowski, who we'll talk about in a second, that wants to come and play for Barcelona, but we're not getting Mbappe, we're not getting Haaland, we're not getting the current superstars that are going to carry the team into that next level, that next stratosphere. We're not getting the attention from those players. You know what I mean? Lewandowski wants to come, in my opinion, because if he does well at Barcelona, if he's top scorer, if Barcelona have some Cinderella run in Champions League, maybe he gets that Ballon d'Or. You know what I mean? But I think Barcelona fans are in for another long season.
Yeah.
I think that we got a little bit spoiled there for like 2 months.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Towards the end of winter into spring, right? But then I don't know what it was. I mean, was it Pedri getting injured that just that was the last challenge we just couldn't get over, because we really pittered out towards the end of the season there,
Yeah. No, I mean, you're right. I mean, I was kind of with you that I thought Barcelona were turning a corner, not just on the pitch, but also off the pitch. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes. I actually don't. I don't know if they're being transparent or not with the finances, because, what's happening? We are in the same situation that we were 2 summers ago, where we are in this much debt. We can't sign, we can't sell. What's going on? And when is the corner going to turn? Because it felt like it did. We brought all those players in January. Alemany did an amazing job. Ferran Torres, 55 million, goes to 70 million with add-ons and whatnot. All of these things. I mean, on the pitch, I think Pedri was a big part of it. I think on the pitch, it's no way near good enough. But obviously that comes from needing to improve the team.
Yeah.
And the worry is that it's going to go backwards again, the team in the summer. Like I said, we're going to lose Dembele, who created a lot of our goals. We're going to lose one of Frenkie De Jong or Gavi, who's a big part of Barcelona's future in midfield. And who are we going to bring in? Let's see. I don't know who I have hopes for.
We might not even have Luke de Goat next season.
Yeah, we won't have Luke de Goat
then what are we
going
to do? You know what I mean? Yeah, it's well, so speaking of Pedri, you probably saw he was voted MVP by the Culers.
Yeah.
I got mixed feelings about it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? I see the hesitation on your face.
Honestly, I love Pedri. He's probably my favourite Barca player, actually, but it should have been Ronaldo Araujo, in my opinion, is who I would have given it to. I think over the season, I don't know, I'm surprised at the vote, because Pedri was injured for so much of it. I think when Pedri played, he was Barca's best player.
Yeah.
And I think he's a difference maker in the team. But MVP of the whole season, by the way, we can't forget what a hideous season it was. Araujo was always there, and he always played to a very high level.
Yeah. I think he played, less than 20 matches in all competitions, Pedri. Between La Liga, Europa, and a couple Champions League. I think it was less than 20 matches.
Yeah.
Not that I'm going to focus on his goal and assist stats, because I think I've mentioned before, I think Pedri's going to be like Iniesta in that way, where he's the one turning defense into offense. He's influencing, but he may not get that final assist, that final goal. So I'm not too worried about that. But you said it, he was injured for a lot of the season. Yes, he is perhaps our most influential midfielder when he's on the pitch. It's a big difference when we don't have him on there. But even behind him, Sergi Busquets couldn't be dropped. If he wasn't on the pitch, Barcelona were not getting points, So I would have gone to him. But I think you actually make a better point. Araujo was there all season long, fighting through injuries to be on the pitch, scored against pretty much every top club in the Liga. So he's showing up in big matches for us. I'm with you on that. I think he would have gotten my vote. You could argue Dembele with his assists, but there's no way Barcelona is going to allow Dembele to get MVP on his way out the door. I don't care what the votes say. There's no way that's gonna happen. So, that's part of what makes me a little bit nervous about this new Laporta era, is that I am really feeling a sense of him managing the perception of what's going on at Barcelona. It seems like he's strategically placing these little nuggets of optimism. So, okay, we got Ansu's contract. We got Pedri's contract. Like, these are kind of being placed in some of the down dips for Barcelona. So, even right now, where we're sitting here worried about Frenkie and Gavi and this and that, we have a well-placed, here's the new home kit, though. Let's talk about that, everybody. Hey, Pedri's your MVP. Let's talk about that, everybody. There's a little bit of that going on. I don't know how much trust I have in the perception of what's going on at Barcelona. How are you feeling about that? Do we trust the behind the scenes right now?
I feel really weird about it, man. And honestly, because the reason I wanted Laporta back in is kind of, transparency, to kind of have a president who cares about the club back. And I want to start by saying I do think he does. And I do think that he is 10 times better president than Bartomeu. I really do think that. And I think Laporta himself actually is devastated, by the way, about what's going on at the club. I honestly think, because Laporta is such a jovial character, he came in and he honestly thought he was going to do what he did the first time.
Yeah.
I don't know if he didn't know what was going on in the club, but he honestly thought he was going to come back in. Messi's going to stay, make Barca great again. We're all going to win the Champions League in 2 seasons. He honestly thought that. I don't think Laporta can deal with what's going on at the club. I literally think that he is just, just so shocked at what is happening, and the fact that it's almost like one good thing, 2 bad things. Do I trust him? I don't know. I think you're right. I mean, it's hard to trust anyone in charge of this ship right now. I honestly feel that. And it is worrying because it's like I said, I was kind of looking just for the turning point. It never seems like we get it. We try and we try and we try, and let's see what they can make out of the summer. But how many finances are we going to have? Who are we going to be able to bring in? Lewandowski is on his knees to come to the club. He's practically ready. Barca just aren't nowhere near ready to do it. Rafinha was close. Leeds stayed up. Nowhere near ready to do it. We can't even register Christensen or Kessie yet. Azpilicueta and Marcos Alonso on standby. You look further forward if they want a midfielder to replace someone, whereas the fund's going to come through for that. Losing big players like Dembele on a free, renewing others like Roberto. And then you just look at the finances of the club full stop. I think Laporta, I don't know if he's telling the full story. Do I trust him? Yes, I still will trust Laporta, but I think you're right. We need to have caution. We do need to have caution because this is not a normal situation.
Yeah. So you mentioned some of the transfers that could potentially come in.
Yeah.
There's a lot coming over from Chelsea, and I know you're also a Chelsea guy. So as a Chelsea guy, put on that hat for a second. What are you thinking about? I know Azpilicueta just signed an extension, right? But there's still rumors that he might come over.
Yeah.
Christensen on free. Alonso might come over.
Yeah.
I saw something about Lukaku. Can you just wipe that one away at least for me? Talk to me about Chelsea guys coming to Barca.
Yeah, let's start with Lukaku. I hope he doesn't go to Barca. I really do. For Barca's sake. I don't want him at Barca, honestly. I've been so disappointed with him at Chelsea. I think it's best if he goes back to Inter Milan, but he might not get that move. The only good thing for Barcelona fans is with our financial situation, you can almost guarantee we won't sign many players. So never mind someone like Romelu Lukaku, who'll be worth a lot and has a big salary. So we should be okay on that one. The other guys, I think we spoke about Christensen on another episode. I still think Christensen will be a good signing for Barca, but it is worth noting that he does have some problems. I mean, they aren't disclosed problems, by the way, with Christensen, but he's pulled out of a lot of matches last minute. I think he could have some sort of anxiety-related problems, especially for big games. I honestly feel that. People were hammering him on Twitter, and I always just think, hang on a minute, maybe just wait a minate because you don't know what's going on here. Christensen, I think, has got some nerves before big games. So let's see what happens with that. That is a bit of a worry. I think, obviously, you have to be kind and sensitive, but it is a worry for Barca. If you've got a player who's not ready to play games, it is an issue, and I know it's been an issue for Chelsea, drafting in players last minute for cup finals and stuff just because Christensen said, I can't go on. So that is a problem. But, I mean, if Christensen plays like he did in 2021, then Barca will be getting a good centre-back. They will. Marcos Alonso is a weird one. Chelsea fans kind of hate him. I actually love him. I know Alonso.
I'm a big fan of Marcos Alonso.
Are you as well? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a weird player, but people hate him. I think he can be a bit sluggish and a bit stupid defensively sometimes. But at left wing back, I think he's been an incredible servant for Chelsea. I mean, The guy's left foot is magic, by the way. He's such a good goal scorer.
Yeah.
He's the sort of guy who could play up front. He's really got a knack for goals. It's very bizarre. My only worry for Marcos Alonso is he's going to be playing in a back four at Barca with not much cover. If he's caught up the pitch, Barca could be looking very silly. Bringing him to the club, it might not fit for Alonso. But I honestly think Alonso will go to Barca. He'll play quite a few games and he'll score quite a few goals as well. So, and Azpilicueta, I don't think Barca are getting him at the peak of his career. There was a little extension that was triggered till 2023, so same as Alonso, 1 year left now because he played a certain amount of games. Let's see what happens, by the way. The owners and Tuchel might say, hang on, we're losing too many players. Can you please stay as the captain? Like, please, because Chelsea are actually in quite a weird situation where we're losing so many players too. So maybe that happens. But I think Azpilicueta, he'll say, I've been here for 10 years. I'd like to try Barcelona for 2 years with Xavi. Like, could you let me go? And I can't see the board then going, you know what? No, we can't actually. I think they'll say, yes, go on. You've done so much for the club. But let's see. And Azpilicueta, I mean, he's a bit older now. Only positive is, it's Azpilicueta for me. One of my favourite players of the last decade since I got into football. Mr. Professional, Mr. Reliable. Such a good player. I think Barca are getting him a little older, but he still plays for Luis Enrique Spain. Still a very useful player. And I think he's the sort of guy who you can't not like having around the team. But yeah, Barca doing a lot of shopping in Chelsea.
Yeah, it feels very much so. We're just kind of raiding their closet a little bit, seeing what we can get. I hear some of the hate that Marcos Alonso gets on Twitter and everything, but the optics aren't great. Sometimes he does look like a baby giraffe running down that left wing a little bit, just a little bit awkward. But the free kicks, like you said, his eye for goal, he gives people a headache, and he's a big guy too. You have him sneaking in on that back post. He's an aerial threat at times. So
no, you're spot on. You're spot on. Yeah, just one more point on Alonso, by the way. He's just been way too disrespected because he's played left wing back for Chelsea in big games, cup finals. For example, who played left wing back in the 2 finals against Liverpool, against that front three? Mm-hmm. Both of them were 0-0. Marcos Alonso, 120 minutes each time, didn't put a foot wrong. I know he's got sticky, Premier League winner, Champions League winner, everything winner with Chelsea. People don't give enough respect to players sometimes, and he's one of them in my opinion.
Is he Chelsea's Gareth Bale?
Alonso.
In the sense that he's been there for all the titles. He shows up in the big moments, and yet gets all the stick when things don't go right. And he's the first one to be like, for fans to be like, get him out of here. What's he worth? And then you look at the CV and you go, oh, wait. He's been there and he's shown up. Yeah, no,
maybe you're right. I mean, I'd never argue with someone to the death on Alonso and say, no, he is incredibly good. I just more think people lack some respect sometimes, honestly. They really do. You've got clubs who don't win anything. They don't win anything, and they've got players who get praised as they've done all this in their career. You got Marcos Alonso, who started almost every game for Chelsea whilst winning big titles. Like, it's not rocket science to me. I don't think he's an unbelievable footballer, but give him some respect is what he's saying. He's still part of Luis Enrique's Spain squad, by the way, ahead of players like Gaia, who I think is brilliant. So that holds some weight in itself.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got one more Chelsea question unrelated to Barca, and then we'll get back to Barcelona stuff, because you mentioned some of the disrespect and the hate, and I want to talk about the reaction to the Champions League final for Culers Online. But sidebar, as an American, I need a Christian Pulisic update from a Chelsea fan. We are now in a World Cup year, all right? Yeah. So World Cup coming up in the winter. Yeah. Most players right now have to be at a club where they're playing 90 minutes week in, week out. So do you think Pulisic's going to get enough time at Chelsea that he's going to want to stay there? That's one. And two, do you want to keep him at Chelsea at this point? How are you feeling about Pulisic?
So it's such a tricky one because Pulisic is actually a little similar to quite a few of our attackers. I really like Christian Pulisic. I very nearly got him on with the back of one of my shirts a few years ago, actually. I just really like him as a player. I do. And I've got big hopes for him at Chelsea. I do think he hasn't produced enough for Chelsea, though. I have to say that. One, he hasn't been played enough, that's true. Two, not in his correct position, is true. And three, he hasn't produced enough on the pitch for Chelsea. Pulisic, he hasn't got, over 10 goals, or he's not the sort of player that when he gets the ball, he's going to dribble past players and score for us. He hasn't done that. He misses big chances for us. He goes missing a bit. And that is a worry. Do I like Pulisic? Yes. Would I keep Pulisic? Just about yes. I think Chelsea will keep him. I think a big reason they'll keep him now is because of the American owners. Pulisic, is Captain America. He's your guy, no? He's the star of the American national team. And I think the new owners and Todd Bowley and that, when they come in, they're not then going to lose that asset. They want to, be bigger in America as well, the Chelsea brand. So I think Pulisic will stay, is the update I'd give you. I do think he'll stay this summer. I think you're more likely to see Hakim Ziyech or Timo Werner out the door. Similar situations to Pulisic, by the way. I love them both. Haven't produced quite enough. Again, sometimes played out of position, sometimes not given consistent enough minutes when they are on the pitch. Again, they've only got, 6 goals and 5 assists. That's been a story for almost all of Chelsea's attackers, bar Mason Mount. So that's a problem Chelsea have. We don't finish. We just do not finish. You saw it in the cup finals. We couldn't kill Liverpool off when we lost on penalties. So frustrating, but it's the way Chelsea are. We don't have a killer up front. That's when we signed Lukaku. Didn't work at all. Didn't do anything. So Pulisic, I really like him as a player. In response to your question, I think he will stay at Chelsea this summer, but I understand your concerns because I couldn't promise that he would actually be Chelsea's starting left winger. I actually don't. I don't know. He might not be. He honestly might not be because Mount will still be there. Havertz will be there. And yeah, obviously he could be the other one, but I think Pulisic will play a lot for Chelsea, but not 90 minutes every game.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think there's too much firepower at Chelsea, and the missed opportunities for Pulisic too. It seems like he does enough to get there, right position or right run. He'll dribble 1-2 guys sometimes, but then the finish isn't there. It's inconsistent. He's scored some big goals, but it's inconsistent. I know that. I'm thinking of there's been a couple of cup finals that he's gotten one-on-one with the keeper, and it's just wide, it's just off. He can't finish. So I hear you on that one. I think if the World Cup was next summer, I could see him maybe going somewhere for a year. But I think because of the awkward placement of the timing of the World Cup, I don't think he's going to want to go to a new club for 4 months and try to get settled in. And I also think that just perception-wise, anywhere that he would go, bar a Real Madrid or a Barcelona, would be seen as a step down, as a bit of a failure at this point. So I think he's got to ride it out. Even if he just has 1 or 2 more good seasons, a little bit more productive than what we've seen, I think he'll be seen as more of a success, and then we'll see where he goes. But I think he's got to ride this one out at Chelsea.
And I hope he does, because I'm actually a big fan of Pulisic. I know Pulisic loves Chelsea as well, which I really appreciate. He's given everything for the club. That's kind of why I like a lot of those guys, to be fair. They sometimes don't produce, but they've given everything. And actually, Pulisic has also scored some very big goals for Chelsea in his time. It is worth saying. So I like Pulisic, and I'm hoping he does well. I really am on.
He's a very respectable professional,
He is. Very good young guy. Yeah.
I don't know if you saw his comments about the latest U.S. men's national team game and the lack of support. I don't know if you got that. So
I didn't.
They played in Cincinnati, where I'm living right now. My wife and I were at the match. I'll be putting out the vlog later this week. But it's a 26,000 seat stadium. We had less than 20,000 tickets sold. 80% were Morocco fans. It was very little support. It was Frankfurt in the Camp Nou all over again.
Dear.
Yeah, and Pulisic kind of called it out at the end when he got interviewed. He was like, "Hey, thanks for the ones that came out, but this is not good enough. We got to do better." So it's something that I appreciate in him, willing to speak up and be that vocal leader. It comes across in just about everything he does as a professional. So not great news for the U.S. fan base, but glad to see that leadership from Pulisic. And I think, like you said, it does come out in the way he plays, and I'm sure in the dressing room and whatnot. Yeah. All right. I got one more thing that'll be a little bit negative, but then we're going to talk about something positive to get you out of here. But with Real Madrid winning Champions League, I'm sure you saw some of the reaction from Barcelona fans. This last year, I've picked up more and more negativity in the Culers community online, and for us to respond to our rivals winning Champions League, to turn inward on ourselves and fire at mostly Ter Stegen is what I saw. Everyone was like, "Hey, Ter Stegen, look, you're no Courtois," and blah blah blah. What is your reaction to something like that? How do you feel when you see Real Madrid winning Champions League, and what is your reaction to the Culers community in their response?
I mean, to Real Madrid winning the Champions League, I think at this point you have to respect it. 14 now is like, I can't believe they did it, really. when I think back to all the games against Chelsea and Man City and in the final against Liverpool, but you have to take your hat off at some point. It just gets to an extent where you're like, what on earth is going on? I just leave them to it now. Fair play. It's Real Madrid. They are. I've got a lot of respect for Real Madrid. I do, have that hatred for them as a Barcelona fan, but I have got more respect actually than other clubs. And in terms of reaction from fans, I just think it's so like, ugly the way football fan culture is kind of getting now. Actually, I really do think that the way people react to almost anything actually online, I think it's just shocking. The thing I always tell myself, and the reason I used to get way more upset about it actually, because I used to go online and read things about my favorite player or my favorite team, and I used to be like, "What are you on about? That's so wrong! Like how dare you? Like that's nonsense." You need to just step back and like the amount of clowns out there is incredible, and it actually took me a few years to kind of calibrate that in my head, and probably about 3 years ago, I kind of just sat myself down and I was like, "Why do you care about what these people think?" The amount of crap I've seen online. I've seen people still do it. People mock Lionel Messi, is what I told myself, the greatest ever player to play this sport. So why are you caring about anything else? Why are you caring about what they're saying about Thomas Tuchel and stuff? People rip into Thomas Tuchel and he just won the Champions League after 4 months with Chelsea. It's when I read things like this that I realise, don't take any of this crap seriously, because these are just people. It's being ridiculous. And I mean, Barca fans on Twitter, because we've got so many, you're always going to get the bad ones. That's the way it is. And I see some utter rubbish on Twitter. I really do. And sometimes you think, what on earth is going on here? Just have respect, support your team, fight with them to the death. And that's the way I see it. Have respect. And very few fans on Twitter have that.
You said it. Wise words, Pablo. Very wise words. I mean, there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of nonsense. Yeah. There's a lot of uninformed people that are expressing opinions about things, and it's driven by feelings that they have about other stuff. There's a lot going on there, and I'm with you. I think everyone could take a lesson from what you said there in terms of just taking a step back and being like, hang on, I don't even need to pay attention to a lot of this.
I'd recommend if you're one of those people who reads the crap and it really wires you up and you're applying to them and you're trying to make them see sense, I honestly recommend leaving it. Because if for example, if someone then replies some crap on my Twitter, I'll always never reply.
That, again, wise words. Stay out of the comments.
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 2 more questions for you, Pablo. We danced around it a little bit. Is Lewandowski going to end up at Barcelona this summer?
It's difficult. I'm gonna say yes to have one bit of positivity, because I think there's a good chance it happens. That's kind of forgetting the woeful finances that we've kind of welled over the whole episode. I think Lewandowski has literally put his neck on the line to come to Barcelona, which I applaud a lot. He said it publicly, press conferences, national team, everything. His agent as well has torn into Bayern Munich publicly. He's doing everything to come to Barcelona. That's what makes me think it can happen. I hope Barcelona get in a situation where, I don't know what happens, probably off the back of a sale of Frenkie De Jong, that they get to a situation where they're going to be able to offer Lewandowski a contract and they're going to be able to pay about 30 to 35 million euros to Bayern Munich. Very good deal in my opinion. Would I like Lewandowski to come to Barcelona? Yes, I actually would. I really would. I think we're signing one of the best players in the world. And I'm always sceptical actually after Lukaku in terms of saying this when a team needs goals and you put in one of the best strikers in the world. But at the same time, I think Lewandowski can be regarded in a tier above Lukaku. He's won Champions Leagues. He's scored tons and tons of goals, more than Lukaku. I think he's performed on a higher level than Lukaku too.
Yeah.
But just Lewandowski, I think, has been an incredible player over the last few years. And if Barcelona get him in our situation, it'd be an immense signing, and I hope we do.
I'm with you again. I think, I would put him a notch above. Really, I would go Mbappe, Haaland, Lewandowski in terms of forwards that I would want at the club. And yes, we're not going to get him in his prime. We're not going to have him for long. But give me Lewandowski for the next 2 seasons. I'm happy with that for sure.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
If Barcelona can stay healthy, our starting 11 is competitive. You know, we'll see if Frenkie's in there, but we're piecing together a good squad. We've got some younger guys that need experience, but we're piecing it together, right? So my last question for you is: if we have Ansu Fati on the left, let's say we got Lewandowski playing number 9. Who's at right wing next season?
Yeah, big question. I don't think it'll be Dembele. I do think Dembele is now leaving. The other option is, I suppose, Ferran Torres is an option there. I think my worry then is that I'm not sure where much creativity would come out of the attack. I feel Ferran Torres, Ansu Fati and Lewandowski on paper seems very good, but I'm not sure if it would entirely work. Rafinha has another option, of course, to come inside, or you sign another right winger. Those are the options. I think the most maybe normal one for Barcelona to go with would be to have Ferran Torres there. Then you got Ferran, Lewandowski, and Ansu, which you can't complain about. I think if you told me about a year ago that would be our front three, I would have said, "My God, like give it to me like now, please." That's an incredible front three. So, look, Ferran Torres is the most likely one. I think Dembele's off. Signing like Rafinha, and if not, another winger like a Mahrez or something would be someone I'd love. Nabry, I don't know, that sort of player with contract expiring could be a great option.
Yeah, there's some options. You mentioned Nabry. I think he would be an interesting choice at Barcelona. I agree. I don't think Dembele is going to play another match in a Barcelona kit. There's part of me that feels like Abde is going to get another shot to come up and maybe play on that right wing if things don't work out, with Rafinha, for example.
Yeah.
It could be interesting. And I agree. Ansu, Lewandowski, Ferran Torres. If Lewandowski comes in, I think that's what we'll see Barcelona start with. But I don't know if that's going to be the starting front three come January, let's say. Because I hear you on maybe some lack of creativity.
Yes.
It's not even. I wouldn't even say a lack of creativity. It's the too much similarity maybe between the two.
Yeah, no,
it's
the profiles. Different. It's like for example, they worked this season with Dembele because we had Dembele on the right, Aubameyang, and then Ferran Torres. They almost came around the back. They tucked in a bit, and Dembele stayed very wide, or Adama.
Yeah,
it's almost like we have that person who, like on one side, can run at people and create, and then the other two to finish. Almost that could work with Rafinha, Ansu, and Lewandowski. Getting Rafinha and Lewandowski is a big ask. That's about 80 million euros right there, plus wages.
Yeah.
Plus signing other players in defence and midfield. That's tricky. It's tricky.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Well, we've got a long summer of rumors.
Yeah, we do.
Of ins and outs, all kinds of stuff. So we'll get you back on not too long. We'll get more transfer updates, and we'll see what else is going on. We'll talk about what's going on in your life, of course. Before I get you out of here, anything to promote? Anything you want to shout out?
Well, I mean, hopefully now's the summer, really the time for me to knock down and really start getting some platforms out there. Start, getting some Barca content out there again. Obviously, since my Barca Universal break in January, I haven't really gotten on the ball much. I mean, for now, go to my Twitter, Pablo WB official. But yeah, again, nothing quite yet. Slowly thinking, slowly getting there, and let's see.
It doesn't go too long without me getting a comment from somebody going, "Hey, what's Pablo up to? When are you gonna get Pablo back on? Where's Pablo been?" So your fan base is still there, man. They love them some Pablo.
Yeah.
All right, we'll definitely get you back on soon. I appreciate you hanging out with me, man. I'm glad you're doing well, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah. Honestly, thank you for having me on again, John. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely, brother. Have a good one.
See you guys.
See ya. All right, folks. Longest conversation we've had with Pablo. Again, always a scholar and a gentleman. I see in the chat someone was asking about my collaboration with Marcaroni. That is happening. We've been talking on Instagram. That's going to be up next. I'm going to try to get him on next week, schedules permitting. If you're watching right now, how's it going, boss? I'll message you on Instagram. But yeah, we'll get that scheduled for next week. We are back to our regular schedule, which means every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on the Undefeated channel. We're covering live Barcelona news, having a little bit of caffeine, starting our day in a positive way. Shout out to the Stash Squad for hanging out today. I really do appreciate you. Kudos and everybody else for driving the conversation. Thank you so much. I love the community that we have here. We support the badge. We support each other. I hope you all have a wonderful day. It's Friday. It's the weekend, baby. I will see you Monday for Wake Up and Barca. Thank you so much for tuning in and taking a ride. Mwah.